When in doubt, nearly 400 funny, insightful, and irreverent ideas for what to do when you're in doubt will be released in April. 5 years ago, Joseph co-founded San Miguel Retreats with another of tonight's readers, his husband, Eli Hans.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. My reading tonight is dedicated to dear Mayor Schachter, and this book, word after word, is dedicated to Eli Hans. Of course, he who for decades has been my favorite on writing and love. To rise in the morning, find the pen again in my hand, allow it to crash on the page, spill forth, as others have said. Let the pen be heard, stopping only for coffee or pet the dogs. And then this, when Chester Blue comes for attention, let me not deny. One day will be his last. I can't live knowing that I didn't love him all the way to the end. Always and always, let me love him and you. What if? What if Mary Oliver spent her days lying in the blueberry patch, staring into the river and marveling again at the small stones? What if her wife stayed home, a sink full of dishes, a dead car battery, a pile of bills on the kitchen counter? Returning home, I've written 10 more sentences, mostly I'm happy with 3 of them. The wife overwhelmed, hands on hips, well then, that's good, I suppose. Thanksgiving. There is this thing, this giving thanks thing. We set aside one day for it. Otherwise, we'd grow tired of it. Is that true? Does one grow tired of heaven? I'll let you know. Before coffee. Just walked outside before coffee and read 3 pages of Lauren Hilger's Lady Be Good. By page 2, I decided I wasn't a poet. Don't publish for fuck's sake, don't share. Or was it page 1? She, the writer reel, shows us how write of oaks and kisses and the morning sky before the gray has burned off. And specifically this, write what you see, what you imagine, how friendship sometimes gets creepy, like the rusty hinges holding the doors in Grandma Acton's Philadelphia Pike House, where Aunt Chirp was born in the kitchen long before she became my godmother. On purpose, don't mention the dog shit on the terrace this morning. We don't want to disgust anyone. Now, coffee. They, while staying in Philadelphia, they who came before did much of what you and I do. Stood at the kitchen sink, worried about the weather, complained of the neighbors and in-laws, raged against taxes, stole furtive glances as passers-by, moved the heavy furniture from the middle of the room and back again. They, quite similar in mood and mannerism, now forgotten mostly by us until a letter, museum tour, a photo, of course, the obligatory historical marker, then a quizzical pause. Who were they? They were you, me, us at the kitchen sink, complaining of slow drains. Instead, such a temptation really to work instead of play, consume instead of create, suffer instead of let go. To be willing, there's that word again, to fully love and enjoy and stop pretending to really love instead all parts of this place, your life, you. Let that be your mantra, the refrigerator magnet, the proverbial pull out of bed. Let love guide you, be us. Now that we're married, what's your name? We had no way of knowing when we awoke that morning that the stars had aligned the night before. The angels had gathered too, whispering excitedly, today's the day, look your best, try on audacious giggles, today's the day. And hours later, blind, we entered Balboa Park alone, swarmed in the energy of 100,000 people, skin and sun and rainbows, not knowing at the other end of the park the stage was set, the minister reviewing his notes, the oft-used test 1, 2, 3. To follow, still blind to the edge of Marston Point, and stand still blind as he begins. Turn to your partner and repeat these vows. A furtive tap on the shoulder, still shy, silly, a hand extended. Want to do this? Yes. Oh yes. Vows exchanged, still shy, blind, of course, until I promise to support you to your highest potential. Out loud, less blind, a marriage sealed with a kiss, a simple, now that we're married, what's your name? A quick, let's have cake and come with me to my brother's birthday. Here, 22 years later, eyes wide open, enraptured by love, the phrase oft said, thank you. Thank you for saying yes, showing up, loving me, seeing me, no longer a bondage. True story. Numbers. Today, this morning, a deep consideration of numbers. How many is enough? Is 20 better than 2? What if 204? The measurement of the waist and biceps and bank account. Is one number better than another? Why and who said? And here's the question truly, are you unhappy because of a number? Will one number make you happier? Or, like most of us, will you be longing for another? 17 and a half, perhaps, or 6. My last poem, Hidden, for Anne Frank. For 2 years, unable to go outside, see the night sky, safely flush the toilet, be heard, make noise, to be afraid morning, night, noon, to dream of fear, wake to the sounds of air raids and swallowed breaths. Still, in all of this, you hope for the future. We know the end, Anne, and it's not what you've been longing for, not what you hoped. You do become a household name known throughout the world. Your suffering is not for naught. The whole of the world loves you. Word after word.